All right, so let's start on the mat though for our Pilates. Let's get into our quadruped position. So the wrists are underneath the shoulder, knees are underneath the hips. And we'll exhale into that nice round spine, tucking the tailbone under, drawing the abdominals in, letting the head fall nice and heavy. Inhale. We're going to keep our arms straight as we lift the chest, lift the tailbone, trying not to hyperextend that neck. Exhale. Eye gaze probably naturally falls to your hips or thighs. And then on the inhale, your eye gaze is probably around 2 feet ahead of your fingertips, or maybe that front edge of your mats. Assuming you're in the center of your mats. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale out through the mouth and inhale through the nose. Now come to neutral and keeping the arms straight, let's move our shoulder blades. This is a little tricky, but you want your shoulder blades to slide towards each other and your whole torso kind of falls between your arms. You see that lowering of my body, and then I'm going to separate my shoulder blades. And what that does is it lifts my torso up through between my arms. So my arms are not straightening or bending. This is all shoulder blades sliding. Good. A couple more times. And then let's make our way to the mat. We'll do something similar. Arms are going to be overhead. Your knees are not going to be over your hips at the moment. But we're going to separate the shoulder blades on the inhale and exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And they might not come all the way together, but they're going to dig down into the mats. Inhale and exhale. Feel the shoulder blades hit the mat and sort of push into the mat as they try to slide toward each other. Looks like I'm reaching toward the ceiling, but really my arms stay straight and the shoulder blades are moving, which makes it seem like my arms are moving. Good. Now we can do this with our lower back imprinted and legs coming to tabletop. So we're still moving our shoulder blades, but we should be able to feel a little more abdominal recruitment now that our legs are off the ground. And then find neutral shoulder blades, so kind of right in between the two. Hold your arms still, and we're going to tap our legs out one at a time. Exhale to lower, inhale to lift. If you find that your lower back needs the stability, you can press your arms into the floor, your palms into the floor, and help stabilize the abs. If they're okay with that, you can keep those arms right over the head. Right over the shoulders. Knees stay at 90 degrees as you exhale to lower, inhale to lift. Let's add some arms. So as the front leg lowers, the back arm will lower. Doesn't have to lower all the way to the floor. We're trying to keep our rib cage still. Our shoulder blade might move a little bit. It has to make way for the arm to go overhead. But again, really pull those abdominals downwards to maintain that imprint. Opposite limbs move. One more time on each side. We're going to do the double leg lowering. So if you need to put your hands back down, feel free. Exhale to lower, maintaining imprint, inhale to lift. The toes do not need to reach all the way to the floor. You can go halfway down. And a little more challenge is to also move the arms. This looks pretty much the same as double leg stretch, except the difference is we're not stretching our legs out on the diagonal. We're lowering the legs to the floor, or lowering the legs halfway to the floor. You should feel your abdominals pretty intensely here as it fights to maintain imprint. Last two. And last one. Good. Drop your heels toward your butt. Relax your quadriceps. Bring the feet to the floor. Hip distance apart. Let's roll up into our shoulder bridge. Inhale, there. Exhale, press through the feet. Roll it up. Inhale, hold. And then exhale, slowly roll down. One vertebra at a time. Working on spine mobility. Inhale. Exhale, roll. And lift. Inhale. Reaching those knees away from the shoulders and exhale, roll down. One more. Trying to move inch by inch. Good. Ab prep. Gnaw the chin. Look toward your knees as you reach arms towards toes. Lower. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, crunch up. Inhale to hold. Exhale, release. You can exhale to crunch up. Inhale, lift a little more if you can. And then exhale, lower. Good. We'll do one more of these crunches with the feet on the ground. And then go ahead and lift the legs to tabletop. Knees and feet together. Exhale, lift. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Inhale, hold or lift a little higher. And then exhale, release. One more time with the legs in this position. We'll do 3 crunches with our legs straight. Feel those hamstrings stretch and those quads engaged. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, crunch up. Inhale, hold. And exhale, release. 2 more times. Last time. And this takes us into hundreds. You can keep your legs as is. You can bend again. You can place it on the floor, or you can extend on the diagonal. Nod the chin, reach those arms, and pump. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 10. Inhale. And exhale. 20. Inhale. Exhale. 30. Inhale. Exhale. 40. You can always change your leg position as long as you maintain imprint. You can lift it higher, you can lift it lower. 60. Exhale. 70. Inhale. Exhale. 80. Inhale. Exhale. 90. Last 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crunch a little higher. And then lower. All right, so targeting our spine muscles now. Always feel free to keep those forearms on the floor. Press into those forearms to support that spine when you lift the top part of your chest. Chin tucks, head and neck align with the spine. Inhale, we lift. It's like you're wearing a necklace. You can't look left, right, up, or down. You just keep your neck in neutral position, aligned with your spine. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Good. If you don't need your forearms, take it back. Fingertips toward the toes. Here you can feel your shoulder blades squeeze together. Exhale as you come down. Feel free to let the shoulder blades separate from each other. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. And exhale, release. If we allow our shoulders to come all the way to the mat, our shoulder blades do separate from each other. Two more. And last one here. Good. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, push yourself up. Give yourself a little spine stretch. And sit on your heels and create a nice curve. What is this on my mat? Wow, there's something really sharp sticking out of my neck. I wonder what that is. Okay, well, I will have to avoid that. All right, coming into a high plank. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees under, reach the heels to the back of the room. We are going to be bending our knees. If you're on your elbows, you won't be able to bend your knees, but you can still hold a very effective plank being on your elbows and on your toes. All right, on the exhale, we pull the right knee in toward the center of our chest. Inhale, return. Reaching the heels to the back of the room. Exhale, other knee, return. Keep alternating the breath. Eye gaze on the floor between the thumbs. When you pull your knee in, feel the abdominals and hip flexors work. When you extend the leg, really think about reaching the heels to the back, feel the calf stretch, and also feel the quads, because the quads are going to engage as you straighten your legs. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. I'm using that exhale to really draw my abdominals up and in toward the spine. Trying to keep my pelvis still the whole time. One more time. On each side, arms should also be feeling some fatigue here. Good. Dropping down to those knees, let's sit on our butt. So for our half rollback, I'm going to try to have as much length in the spine as possible. Reach those arms forward, shoulders down, and relax away from the ears. Exhale, create curvature. Toes glued to the mat. Inhale, lengthen to the top of the head. Exhale, draw the abdominals in. This is neutral spine, and this is flexed spine. Flexed spine is anytime we curve forward. Let's get some range of motion in our shoulders. As I go back, I'm going to sweep my front arm down and around as high as you like to come up. You'll notice differences felt in your abs depending on how big you circle the arms. All right, so that is up for you to decide how far you're going to reach back. It's okay if there's a little rotation. The other arm that's not moving will stay in front of the shoulder. All right, so we're not going to pull it across the midline here. Kind of helps anchor the other side. Exhale, lean back. Inhale to finish the circle. Exhale. Inhale. One more time on each side. Should still be feeling it in your abs and just getting range of motion in those shoulder joints. And we're going to roll all the way down. Full roll up. Okay, I'm going to slide my feet in a little bit. I'm going to shoot my heels out, squeeze the quadriceps, extend my legs as I do the roll up. Inhale, arms reach the ceiling, nod the chin. As you exhale, squeeze the legs straight, dive forward. Hamstring stretch. Inhale, start to roll back. Exhale, roll the spine down with control. Drag those heels in again just until the toes hit the floor. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders. Exhale, reach. So feel those quads engaged and keep them engaged even now as we're rolling down. Really anchored heels and legs. Drag the heels in. Oops, I dragged my mat in too. Inhale. Exhale. I'm looking for really smooth transitions here. My exhale takes me through my stretch. Inhale. I start to roll back. Exhale. I rolled down. Breathe in 2 more times. This stretch isn't just for the hamstring. You should feel it across the upper back, separating the shoulder blades, your mid back, even your lower back. Do one more. Inhale and exhale. Good. As usual, it's time to adjust our pants. All right, here's a variation of leg circles. So leg circles, I usually say keep your whole body still and circle the leg without moving the pelvis. There's a variation of the leg circle where you do move the pelvis, is it intentionally gets into your spine. We want to sort of stretch the obliques. So you can reach the arms out to the side. If we start with our back leg lifted, you bring the leg across the body. And my pelvis is up, right? Here's my right butt cheek off the ground. I'm really trying to anchor my shoulder blades. From here, when it's across the body, I'm gonna see what I can do to straighten my leg. Yeah, you'll feel kind of a nice stretch. And then you start to bring it up and around. And as you bring it around, you feel your butt and hips square back up. And then at this point, you want to keep both hips down as you take the leg to the back. So open up the hip. And then we circle it down. So this is the trajectory we're still going. As it comes down, it gets very close to the other leg that's on the floor. You start to bend a little bit if you need to, or keep it straight. If you bend, that's totally fine because you get to your spine rotation and then you straighten it. But if you decide you want to keep the leg straight, you'll feel that outer thigh glute stretch here. So this is just a variation of the leg circles where instead of the pelvis and spine all staying still, the shoulder blades and spine, the shoulder blades will stay still, but your spine, the lower parts, and your pelvis actually moves. This is not easy still, and it's meant to be done very slowly and in control. And you're gonna, oops, I just kicked my leg. So you're going to feel stretching. Quads are engaged, hamstring stretch, butt stretch, outer thigh stretch. As you bring it up, opening up those hips. As you bring it to the back, more hip opening. But don't lose control here, because if you let the leg completely fall to the side, see how this front butt cheek lifts up? That's not the butt cheek we want coming off the ground. Let's do one more in this direction, and believe it or not, we're going to reverse direction. So if you were to realign your legs again, take the back leg to the back first. Just going to move over. Take the back leg to the back first, up and around. Let the back pelvis, butt cheek come off. Good. So just adding in an extra spinal twist, which is kind of a nice stretch across the mid-thoracic back. Hopefully you're still breathing, alternating the breath. We exhale during the exertion, which is the circling upward parts. And then we inhale during the lowering. All right, let's do the other leg. I've shifted over a little bit so I don't kick my wall. But now I shouldn't kick my wall because I'm using the front leg. So front leg option. Remember, you can bend your knee. You can bend it here and then straighten it. Circle it up and around. So if you want to bend your knee, once you get your legs next to each other, you can bend it upward, straight up toward the chest, and then take it over. Okay? Other option is you keep it straight. Now remember, there's only one butt cheek coming off the ground. It's the butt cheek associated with the circling leg. The other leg stays grounded, including the butt cheek. So cross the midline. Pelvis lifts front pelvis, sorry. Pelvis does have two halves. Ugh. This other hip is tight for me. That's why I groaned. So you have to watch how far you can bring the front leg to the front so that your back leg butt cheek doesn't lift off the ground. Active arms so your shoulder blades stay very anchored. All right, let's finish off with this circle in this direction and then reverse direction. We're going to take the front leg to the front first and then up, exhaling, up and over, pulling it as close to the head, keeping the leg straight, 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 reaching into the back, allowing the spine twist to happen. I'm not putting the leg on the ground. I don't want it to rest. I'm still keeping my muscles engaged here. Good. Great range of motion in the hips. We don't want to lose the range of motion in our hips. But think of how often we make leg circles. Not often at all. Two more here. Exhale to lift. Inhale. And last time, exhale. Inhale. Great. So go ahead and hug your knees in, and we'll do single leg stretch. Exhale to reach a leg out there. Inhale to switch, exhale. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders if you like, and at any point you can take the head, neck, and shoulders back down. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Entering into our abdominal series. Option to reach the heel out there if your foot's cramping or you're looking for variation so you're not always pointing the toe. Hands behind the head. Add the rotation, slight rotation, shoulder blade. One goes a little higher than the other, but both are off the mat. Elbows stay wide. 4. And exhale to twist. 3, 2, and 1. Flowing into the double leg stretch and reach. Whenever you reach, think about your toes and fingertips reaching up and then away. So up and then away. Versus if you think about just reaching back, it sometimes forces your shoulder blades to the mat. Now, if your head, neck, and shoulders are down, don't worry about what I just said. But if your head, neck, and shoulder blades are up, think reach, think up. Last 2. Last 1. Even though I'm reaching my legs on the diagonal, I'm still thinking sort of upward reach. Good. Straighten those legs for the scissors. Let's double pulse it. Pulse means reach, reach further. So one leg is reaching up and toward the head, the other one's reaching away to the far wall and away from my head, but not lower. So think away. Away from each other. Reach, reach further. Reach, reach further. Pulse, 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 pulse. Reach, reach further. Scissor, farther apart. Far and farther. It's one exhale, but sort of truncated or made staccato. Last pair. Last one. Good. All right. Let's flip over onto our stomach again. Hopefully you feel pretty warmed up now. So before we get to our hamstring curl, let's first elevate the legs here by engaging the butts and feeling a little hip flexor stretch. We're going to do the breaststroke. So what happens is you're going to reach forward. Everything is on the ground. Well, your arms are barely above the ground. And as you circle the arms back, you're going to lift the legs. They're going to be shoulder distance apart, at least, or wider. And then we're going to lower the legs. Hands come close to the side of the body. Reach forward. Your hands are just half an inch off the ground as it circles, and inhale, lift. Exhale, the chest comes down as the arms hover just above the floor to make it circle. Inhale, lift all four limbs to the back of the room. Exhale, reach forward, circle, inhale. Remember, the head and neck is aligned with the spine. Exhale. And inhale. Last two. And last one. Good. Do a quick stretch here. Then we'll go into our hamstring heels. So that will emphasize the glutes and hamstrings a little more. You're going to stack your hands so your forehead can rest on it. You're going to take your knees apart so they are not close together, and that allows your heels to come together with your toes apart. So for now, think about, see, this is my hips coming up. Think about pressing your hips down. So squeeze your butt downward, and then exhale to squeeze your heels together. Inhale to not squeeze. You don't want your heels to lose contact with each other. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale to not squeeze. Good. Squeeze as much as you can, as much as you want. It's an isometric contraction. It's as if two people are arm wrestling of the equal strength. Now, what happens often is as people squeeze their heels together, they tend to push their butt up. They tend to pike. This is very common. So one thing to prevent that is as you squeeze your heels, you think about lifting your knees up. And as you think about lifting your knees up, it naturally will contract your glutes to push your hips down. So that reinforces that. So keep your head down. Exhale. Squeeze and think about lifting your knees. And you do so by squeezing your butt, which forces your hips downwards. Exhale. Inhale, release. Exhale. Now, ideally, you should feel this intensely in your butt's hamstrings. Okay? Hopefully not in your lower back. You can also sort of experiment with how wide your knees are. Like if you find that you're not feeling much, you can take your knees wider and see how that works, or bring them in. Last two here. Oh, I'm sweating. And last one. Good. Release and push yourself up. All right, let's kind of go into our standing position, but let's not just stand up. Let's make our way up. So with your wrists underneath your shoulders, let's come into our plank again. And from here, lift your hips up, drive your heels down. This looks like downward dog because it pretty much is. But this is a typical way of stretching your calves anyways. Walk your hands back, but slowly, with the emphasis of trying to keep your legs mostly straight. And with each movement of the hand back, you're going to feel your heels just drop closer and closer to the floor. So you're really emphasizing that calf and hamstring stretch as you walk your hands back. All right, bend your knees if needed, but try not to make the main point to bend your knees. Bend your knees as needed. All right, so now we're here in a forward fold, hamstring stretch, lower back. Go ahead and slowly straighten your legs. Start to roll up one vertebra at a time. And this is how we make our way into a standing position. All right, things that are really great to do in standing. Think about your Pilates principle still. So braced abs, lifted chest, shoulders back and down. Even though we're not lying against the flatness of the mat anymore, we want to imagine like we still are. Big step forward.
So this is a lunge variation. Oops, I just stepped on that sharp thing. I don't know what that is. Okay, so in our lunge, this knee is going to stay over the ankle. We're trying to avoid it ever shooting past the ankle. So think vertical shin. If I come up out of the lunge, this is the most that I would shift forward, right? So the further back you are, sort of the more range that you can have. Now, I want to differentiate the fact that standing Pilates is not yoga. So with this, I know it looks like Warrior One and things like that, but we want to think about alignment. So if you can get both feet, both toes pointing forward. In my case, I'm showing you the profile. So both my hips, hip bones, knees and toes are all facing the side wall, okay? We're gonna go from really squeezed quad, straight leg, to reaching the back knee down into a fitness lunge, and then back into squeezing the quads. Bend. So how can you tell if you're in the right position? Well, right stride length. When you bend down, hopefully your knee ends up right underneath the hip. Knee, hip, shoulders, ears, one straight line. Okay? So you can adjust as needed. Quad squeeze, hip flexor stretch. Think about sort of tucking and pulling that knee down and forward. Reach it back, down and forward. This is pretty intense, okay? Oh. Also, we got balance to worry about. Thank goodness my wall's there. Braced abs, chest lifted, shoulders back and down. If you want your arms to the side for balance, take it there. My front knee is staying pretty much still. 2 more here. Heel stretch, calf stretch by reaching the heel down. Okay, let's switch sides. I'm showing you the profile, but feel free to do this facing forward, so it look kind of like this. So I'm always trying to guess where my leg should be, but I don't always guess correctly, meaning if I don't step, so this is not a good stride length because you can see that my knee's shooting forward. So the correct thing to do is bring my foot back. Now here's mostly about 90. And then from there, I'm going to keep my foot still. Okay, so don't worry about trying to guess the exact right stride length. Just do the first lunge. Look at what happens with your knee angles. And then from there, adjust. My feet are hip distance apart for lateral stability. Just keep alternating the breath. You can inhale here or exhale. It doesn't matter. They're both quite a lot of exertion. So exhales feel appropriate the whole time. But things to think about besides the chest up and the abs tight and maintain your balance. You can look at a dog on the floor. Other things to think about is, what are you feeling? As you bring the knee down and forward, you'll feel it really intensely in the back leg, quad, and hip flexor. And as you straighten the leg, you're going to feel that stretch in the quads, but also that heel as it reaches down, the calf stretch. Oops, see what I just did? I accidentally straightened my leg because I wasn't thinking about it, because it takes away the work in the front leg. So that's the other thing we got to think about. Making sure this front leg stays still, making sure that front knee stays right over the front ankle. 2 more. All right. Those are both lunges, and they're just variations of a lunge. All right, let's go into a squat. Squat is always feels a little better because we have equal weight in both feet, and you feel a little bit more balanced. Feet are going to be hip distance apart. This is the narrowest we'll ever do for a squat. All right, so from the side, the first thing you do is stick your butt back, create the hip hinge, and then sit in the chair. Okay? This is about 90 degrees. My shins have to slant a little bit just because of weight distribution, but Notice my knees aren't shooting in front of the toes. So this is the most amount of effort you should put in a squat. Sometimes when we're doing squats in like a boot camp class, we're so focused on doing it for speed that we don't really think about all these movements. First the hip, then the knees. There's a difference because if you think about knees first, this is what happens. Knees. And then you do this like odd looking squat. So hips first, back. Knees bend second. And then you're just ever so slowly sitting down into that imaginary chair. The more you try to keep the chest up, the less that it will tilt. You tilt just as much as you need to. All right, it's impossible to keep your torso vertical. Not in this squat anyways. Good, just showing you from the front view again. My knees and toes are staying in line with each other. There's no buckling in, there's no bowing out. Let's do one more here. Good, and then let's go into some side lunges, which are really great for an inner thigh stretch. Here we're gonna take our feet the widest possible. Hopefully this will feel like a nice stretch for you and we're not trying to create pain here. As I bend to the right side, my knee is gonna stop around my ankle. It is possible that your knee goes a little bit more past your ankle, but it should never go past your toes. I prefer to just stop it right at the ankle. Okay, let's focus on the one side here. As you bend into that right side, if you're mirroring me, you'll feel an increased stretch in your left. Toes and knees are both turned out to the corners of the room, not to the walls, not to the side walls, at a corner. Right now, remember our rib cage can rotate around our pelvis. So my pelvis stays still. I can do all this stuff with my rib cage. So we're gonna do that. So first, no rib cage movement. My shoulders are still squared to the front. My knees are open to the side. Now, bend into your knee, hold, turn towards your knee. Okay? Back to center and lift. This might help to have your hands here or here. Not moving the arms here, but really locking everything in position. So I'm almost pulling my right elbow back, and then that drives the movement. I don't need to bring this arm forward. Everything wants to go forward. I don't have to think about that. Bring this right arm elbow, pull it back, and that helps with the rotation. Okay? So lunge, rotate, center, and lift. Extra weight is in this leg. Rotate. Right now I'm keeping my torso upright, but we can tilt the torso as a unit. Okay, so I'm still trying to keep it neutral, but I can hinge a little bit at the hip. Rotate. See this straight line here with this other leg? Back to center. Come up to vertical. So watch again. As I bend the knee, I'm also tilting. I didn't rotate yet. Now I rotate, pull that elbow and shoulder blade back, unrotate, stand. As I strain the leg, my torso comes vertical. Tilt, rotate, unrotate, stand. All right, keep alternating the breath. Four-part movement. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend, twist, untwist, stand. 2 more times. Last one. By the way, feel free to write anything in the chat or unmute yourself. I I muted you, but I didn't take away your ability to unmute. Okay, we gotta do the other side. First, let's just do this movement. If you need to take a break, shake out your legs for a moment. All right, so you can put your arms up here. I'm gonna start with just the rotation and not quite the tilt yet. The tilting does make it more challenging. Why? Because when we lean towards that bent leg, we're shifting more of the weight to that leg, so that leg muscles have to work harder. And I hope it makes sense when I say take this elbow, so this is my right, but it's your left, to initiate the movement by squeezing the shoulder blade and pulling it back, as opposed to thinking about bringing the front arm forward, because it's so easy to move this arm forward without actually rotating our body. But when we move an arm back, basically it drives the rotation of our body. All right? Hopefully. It should. It should, because it's already in the plane of our body, so there's nowhere else for the body to go. If you started with your arms here and then you took it back, yes, then it wouldn't drive rotation. But we're starting it here. So let's add that tilt. Tilt here, then rotate, unrotate, stand. You can inhale here, you can exhale here, inhale, exhale. Whichever breathing pattern you're using, just keep alternating the breath. If you can see yourself in a mirror or your screen, when you tilt, you're really looking for a straight line here. So you don't want to over tilt. This is a little over tilted. How are we doing? Tilt, rotate. You should feel a lot more work on these leg muscles here. And when you look down, see, I'm looking down on my knees kind of with my peripheral vision. The knees and toes should be aligned with each other. This knee shouldn't be like inward and collapsing inward or shooting outward. It should be really perfectly aligned with those toes. Let's do 3 more. Tilt, rotates, unrotates, lift, last 2. 4-part movement. 3, 2, 1, and last one. Yeah, let's go back to the floor. Go ahead and pivot towards the leg that we were just using. Reach the hands to the floor and lower yourself down. Ooh, okay. All right, let's do a couple more spine extensions, right? And this time I do want to focus on, once again, these shoulder blades. So if you take your elbows and fingertips right behind the ears, if you lift here, you can rotate. So both hips are still on the ground. Remember, my rib cage can rotate a little bit. Center and lower. Inhale, lift. Rotate just enough so maybe the front elbow gently touches the ground. Center, both elbows off the ground, and lower. I'm really not putting my hands behind my head, it's just behind my ears. Gently touching my ears, just to keep the elbows in alignment with sort of the plane of my body, the plane of my ears. So what I mean is, if my chest is lifted and my elbows are on the floor, my elbows have come forward. If I lift my elbows and squeeze my shoulder blades together, then they're aligned with my posterior chain, the muscles in the back. All right, one more time on each side. Lift, rotate. These are very much similar to the muscles we just worked as we were standing. Hopefully you still feel it because they're still a little fatigued. And now here, it feels completely different. So your shoulder blades are separated, really different from squeezing your shoulder blades together. All right, let's just finish with some teasers. So this brings us back to our abdominals and back to spine mobility. All right, so we gotta do our roll up. Start with our legs and tabletop, biceps by the ears. Inhale to reach the arms, head, shoulder blades up. Exhale to extend the legs, crunch up, roll up, and then pull the knees in again for your balance. Inhale. Exhale, do the reverse. Reach out, control the lowering of your abs with the counterbalance of your legs. And we're back to the start. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders. Exhale, legs and spine. Inhale, find your balance. Exhale, reach. So this is about your body, counterbalancing the weights of your legs with your torsos. Inhale. I don't know why I said torsos. We only have one torso. If you want a little more ab work without the leg straining, you can reach your arms up. Inhale. Exhale, roll up. Good. Another way of increasing work to the ab is to keep the legs straight. But sometimes our hamstrings are really tight, so it's hard to keep the legs straight enough to work the abs. So you can manipulate arms or legs to create more challenge to the abs. All right, let's do one more here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Gotta lengthen your body, arch your back off the mats. I don't know if you can necessarily see it because I have a dark mat, but I can slide basically my entire arm underneath my body. But if I was imprinted, I can't even get a finger underneath. So that's the difference. When doing Pilates, we don't want to be able to place an arm underneath our body. Good. Do a lot of, during our standing portion, believe it or not, was a lot of strength and stretch at the same time. So we actually got a lot of stretch in our inner thighs and hamstrings. So the only thing that we have really left to stretch for today is your quadriceps. So you can pull the top heel toward the top butt cheek and then pull the leg behind. You should feel that stretch right along here. Feel free to face the other wall and the other leg will become the top. You can swivel all the way around and stretch those quadriceps. The quadriceps are heavily engaged also anytime we straighten our legs in Pilates, which is quite a lot. So if you aren't able to do squats or lunges for any reason, if it bothers your knees or hips, you can still really strengthen your knees and strengthen support around your knees and strengthen your quads by simply keeping your legs straight throughout class. How are you doing?
Okay.
Great.